So let us discuss the questions one by one. As I said, the questions level, if you see, 4 mark question, which is mostly theoretical questions, easy level questions. 5 mark question, moderate level question. It may be a theory question or it may be a numerical question. Depends on what type of question is this. Like applying perceptron rule or Heb's rule for the given and or, then it's a simple question of 5 marks. And 6 mark question will be there, which is again a difficulty level question. Sometimes it may be theory or it may be a numerical question. If it is a theory question, then what is expected? The question's answer, it should be elaborative. Elaborative doesn't mean you are writing 2 or 3 pages. It should cover all the important points. Neat diagrams should be there. Whatever the mathematical expressions, derivations are expected, that should be contained in that particular answer. 7 mark question, again 7 mark question, mostly mathematical question, but sometimes they are theoretical also. So here almost all the questions I have considered here. I will not say exactly same questions will be there in the exam, but exactly similar pattern questions will be there in the examination. Let us discuss one by one all the questions. So see the first question, what is the difference between, now easy questions. I am giving this question in easy question. So what is the difference between forward propagation and backward propagation in neural net? Question, it is a 4 mark. So accordingly, what is expected? You should draw the figures. Remember, everywhere you can draw the figures. So forward propagation, we know that it is in one direction only. It is in one direction only. And in backward propagation, some target it is given, it is not matching that target, and that's why to minimize the loss function, we are moving in backward direction. That is nothing but back propagation, and both the figures can drawn properly. Okay. Today, after these questions, what are the questions are there? I will try to share question answer formats also. I have prepared some of the questions, so I will just update it and I will share it with. Okay, so I will repeat a 4 mark question. So what is expecting? A figure you should draw, and what is forward propagation? So it is in one direction. How you are applying the process? Process, it should be described in the figure itself. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so whenever such questions are there, you should draw the figures also. Okay, like what we know for, see, so a simple network you should draw here. Different forms we are using. So here we are finding both. What you are finding the summation function, as well as you are applying that activation function. So you should show the process likewise for the forward, feed forward. Finally, here you are getting the output y. If I am saying this is the output y. So this is the process of feed forward. Okay. So every properly give the names x1, x2, x3. Here we are finding both summation and activation function we are applying, and you are getting the output function. So when you are writing about the feed forward, see many times as I am observing, theoretically लिहिणं तुमच्यासाठी अवघड असणार आहे. It is little bit difficult for you to describe each and everything. So with the figure, with the mathematical expression, we can show this. So this is for feed forward, and a similar figure will be there in for back propagation. But what we are observing, you are observing. So here mathematical expressions will also come for back propagation. Y transpose is there, and you are starting, it is in two direction. First in forward direction, and then it is in the backward direction. So for 4 mark question is there for both. If you are writing, hardly 3 to 4 lines are sufficient for each feed forward or back propagation. Okay. Now let us come to the next question. what is the difference between a feed-forward neural network and recurrent neural network? Maybe the question it is only for the recurrent neural network. So what we know about the recurrent neural network? In recurrent neural network, actually it is known as the feedback network also. So in recurrent network, what we are doing, if you remember now Hopfield, so in that one of the recurrent network we are using. So what we are doing, again, if I am considering the same network, this is the basic, what we can say, this is the basic network which we are always using. So if you consider this, so in recurrent network, what we are doing in recurrent network, whatever the output is there, that output is giving input to himself. This is one type of recurrent network. So if question it is of 4 marks, so how you should write down about the recurrent network, that is, it is also called as the feedback network also. In this there are different types of network where why now the next question, what is the role of activation function in neural network? Now in detail, the notes are already shared with you for unit 2. Units 1 notes I have updated a lot. So that notes again I will share on the Google Classroom. So activation function, as we know every time, whatever the output we are getting, sometimes we need that output in terms of 1 and minus 1, or it is in terms of probability. So the first role it is converting that linear function into whatever the desired output we want. So the role of activation function, so you should describe it properly point wise again. So this is a simple question of 4 marks. So it is expected only you should describe what is the role of activation function. Linear function, that is summation function, cannot be read, and it is converted by using the activation function to the readable form. Just give me 1 minute. Students, just give me 5 minutes. Yeah. ठीक आहे चालेल कारण तो इतकं छोटा आहे आम्हाला काय जायचं ते पण समजत आपण आता कसं आहे तेवढ्या फिडिंग जे करण्याचं पाणी एवढं करून आणि नॅचरल मला असं वाटतं की मला कॉन्टॅक्ट मध्ये आहे फिलिंग टू वाटत खायला बरोबर ठीक आहे चालेल आम्ही पण चालेल चालेल काय थँक्यू काल तुम्ही फोन केला होता काल तुम्ही फोन हा म्हणजे काल ते मला वाटतं थोडंसं रेंजमध्ये इश्यू झाला. अच्छा. अच्छा नाही खाते म्हटलं नाही लागली. हा. अच्छा. नाही कारण सकाळी पाहिला ना तो जेवण चांगलं म्हटलं त्याच्यावर काय नाही ते बघा बट काल म्हणजे आज तो ओके वाटतं काल ते फिडिंग करत असते. हा घेऊन जाईल. हो 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 काही हरकत नाही. थँक्यू थँक्यू. Sorry, sorry for the disturbance. We will continue. Okay, let us continue. So activation function, this is a theoretical question now. So what is expected? You should write down the points one by one instead of a para. And everyone remember this thing, कि no one is expecting a lengthy answer from you. The important point, it should be there. What are the different types of activation function used in the neural network? So what I will suggest here, see, what are the different types of activation? We know that step function, sigmoidal function, tan h of x, ReLU function, Leaky ReLU function. So for every activation function, even if you are writing two lines, and if you are drawing that figures properly, where everything can be understood, like what is the range of that activation function. So figures will be helpful. Now this question, it is of 4 marks. If I'm combining these two questions, what is the concept of activation function, and describe 2 to 3 activation function, 3 activation function, 4 activation function. This will become some moderate questions maybe, or it will be a easy level question. So we are trying a point where it is difficult to describe. Such points we are not giving to you. Now we know that there are some restrictions maybe function, but we are combining these two questions so that you can write down properly what is the activation function and what are the different activation functions we are using, so that for 4 marks the answer it will be sufficient. Then the next question, what is a simple perceptron artificial neuron? If you remember, we have started our architecture of artificial neuron from the first point, from a single layer neural network. So perceptron artificial neural network, it is nothing but a single layer neural network. So what is expected for 4 marks? Figure first of all, as I have shown you. So figure first of all, then what are the contents? Layers are there, neurons are there, then bias is there, summation function is there, activation function is there. Try to understand. For 4 marks, every content you are defining, it will be a good answer. And you are already knowing it. But many of the time the confusions are what should be there in the answer. सो मला फक्त एवढं सांगायचं, तुम्हाला सगळं व्यवस्थितपणे माहिती आहे, फक्त ना ते डिस्क्राईब करताना स्टेप वाईज व्यवस्थितपणे जायचं आहे तुम्हाला. सो व्हॉट इज बायस? Why bias it is important in ANN? So I think in theory notes, this was not there in the previous theory notes. I have included this part also now. For bias, what we know, for perfect fitting, bias it is used. With the regression lines I have shown you, so you can include the figure also, as well as the importance of bias in that. What is the concept of learning rule? So learning rule, why we are using learning rules? To update the weights and bias, so that we can go for the optimization. So learning rules, so we can describe about the learning rule. So what we will do, we will add a question, what is the concept of learning rule? So in learning rule, remember, there will be 2 types of question. What is the learning methods? Okay, what are the learning methods? Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, or reinforced learning. What are the learning rules? The learning rules are Hebb's rule, perceptron rule, delta rule. So try to understand difference between these two. If the question it is for learning methods, supervised, unsupervised, reinforced. If the question it is for learning rules, HEPS, perceptron and delta rule. Okay. Mathematical question is also there on learning rules. Then describe the different learning rules used in ANN. Now learning rules, what is expected? What you should write down in learning rules. So we have seen 3 rules: HEPS, perceptron and delta. We know the mathematical formula to update the weights. Even we know what type of activation functions we are using in that. So if you remember, Heb's rule, a perceptron rule. For what we are using whenever your outputs are 0, 1 or in bipolar 1 and -1. But in delta rule, we are using sigmoidal also. Simultaneously, I will write down here so that you can remember all the points. So you can, I will share this PDF with you also. Okay, what should be there in our answers. So if my question it is for describe the learning rule. So what you should add? What you should add? You should write down all the 3 rules. Theory लिहिताना आपण एक्झॅक्टली कुठपर्यंत थांबायला पाहिजे, काय लिहायला पाहिजे हे पण लक्षात घ्या. No one is expecting lengthy answers. Everyone is expecting points, that particular points. Heb's rule or perceptron rule as well as perceptron rule, and the last one it is delta rule. All the rules you are writing. So here what is expected? What is the mathematical formula for weight and bias update? Okay, for weight and bias update. So what formula you are using? So it should be the formula. Then for what type of, which activation function you are using? Activation function. And why purpose? What is the purpose behind using that particular activation function? Because that particular type of output you need, like 1 0 1 -1, and in sigmoidal function delta rule, we know that in delta rule what formula we are using? W old, W new is equals to W old minus alpha into del E by del Wi. Means whatever the function, activation function we are using, that should be differentiable, and that's why activation function, it is not a step function. If you remember, number of times we discussed this point. So only these points are expected while you are writing an answer for 4 marks or even for 5 marks for the learning rule. Let us come for the next question. After learning rule, describe the different learning rules used in N. Okay, difference between ANN and BNN. I think this is described already. No, but when you are writing the answer, remember, you should compare. So point wise, you should compare. What are the contents? The contents wise एक बार compare करो, speed wise compare करो. Figure you should draw for ANN and BNN both. दोन्हीच्याही figures तिथे यायला पाहिजे. Content wise की इकडे काय contents आहेत आणि BNN मध्ये काय contents आहेत. This is completely a theoretical question. What are the different types of learning method described? Now, as I said, learning methods. So learning methods मध्ये काय असणार आहे? Supervised learning. In learning methods, if the question it is for learning methods, then you should write down learning methods. See, I am repeating, इथे confuse नका हो. Even though if you know and you are writing the wrong answer, you will lose your marks. So in learning method, you should write down about the supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforced learning. Okay, here in HEPS, perceptron, delta, you should always remember these all are types of supervised learning only. Okay, supervised learning and reinforced learning. You should write down about these 3 points in the learning methods. Then moderate level question on the unit 1. What is ReLU? The most commonly used activation function. As we said, what is the ReLU? ReLU, this is combination of both linear function and non-linear function. It is combination of both, and that's why it is very much important. And to avoid the many problems, we are using this. Easy to calculate, as well as it is solving many other problems too. So रेलू फंक्शन यू शुड ड्रॉ द फिगर ड्रॉ करणार आहात तुम्ही आणि फिगर सोबतच त्याचे पॉइंट्स लिहिणार आहात. एव्हरी टाइम आय एम रिपीटिंग द सेम थिंग. तुम्हाला कुठेच डिस्क्राईब खूप डिटेल मध्ये करणं एक्सपेक्टेड नाहीये. पॉइंट वाईज इफ यू आर गोईंग दॅट इज बेटर टू चेक द आन्सर ऑल्सो. आमच्यासाठी पण ते बेटर असणार आहे आणि तुम्हाला लिहायला पण ते बेटर असणार आहे. ठीक आहे. व्हॉट आर द न्यूरल नेटवर्क? व्हॉट आर द टाइप्स ऑफ न्यूरल नेटवर्क? कॅन यू टेल मी व्हॉट इज युअर अंडरस्टँडिंग फॉर टाइप्स ऑफ न्यूरल नेटवर्क? Yes, what are the types of neural network? Can any one of you tell me what types you will take? Yes,
Single layer, multi-layer.
okay, single layer, multi-layer. Okay, see, in types of neural network we should write down feed forward. Okay, feed forward. And now in this, if you want, layer wise they are divided into single layer and multi-layer. Okay, so in types you should write down what is the feed forward network, what is the back propagation. These are the types actually. If you remember, आपल्या PPTs मी परत एकदा युनिट 1 च्या पण शेअर करून देते. फीड फॉरवर्ड आणि नोट्स मध्ये मी खूप प्रॉपरली दिलेलं आहे सगळं, तर त्या नोट्स मी शेअर करते. मी खूप जास्त अपडेट केल्यात फर्स्ट युनिट. फीड फॉरवर्ड, बॅक प्रोपोगेशन, रिकरंट, these are the different types of neural network. There are others too, but we are connected with only these 3 types of neural network: feed forward, back propagation, and recurrent network. So a small figures also you can add. This is a moderate question, and you can write down about every network within 2 to 3 lines. So that will be the sufficient answer. Okay, so this is there in the types of neural network. If you want, you can add later on as per the number of layers. These all networks are divided into a single layer as well as the multi-layer neural network. Okay, now let us come to the next question. एक बार theoretical questions झाल्यावर आपण जे mathematical questions आहेत काल मी PPT पण शेअर केलेले आहे. We will discuss that PPT also. आपला Hebs rule for AND gate with 0 initial values. See, in the question back itself we are adding this question. Actually, Hebs and perceptron, what type of mathematical questions will be there? So Hebs or perceptron, it is only for AND or OR gate. Max to max little bit changes we will made if we want to add. Only 4 sets will be there for AND and OR gate. तो उसके साथ ही अगर हमें कुछ additions करने हैं, so we will add some more inputs to that. No other variations will be there for Hebs and perceptron rule. Okay, so be confident. Already that problem shared on perceptron on Hebs rule on or AND gate and OR gate. So see that questions carefully. हम फिर एक बार उसका solution भी check कर लेते हैं how we are solving it. So mathematical question on this are only this type of question. याच्या व्यतिरिक्त दुसरा कुठलाही क्वेश्चन तुम्हाला इथे तरी नसणार आहे. ठीक आहे. So Hebs, perceptron. Then what is the role of activation function in neural network? Again the similar question. Activation function, this is one of the important point. Now I will add here moderate मध्ये आहे हा point बाकी राहिला माझा. What is the role of activation function and describe some of the activation function. Explain difference between biological neuron and artificial neural network. तुमचा तो 4 मार्कासाठी आहे का 5 मार्कासाठी आहे त्याच्यानुसार तुमचा आन्सर ही त्या पद्धतीने little bit changes should be there. 5 marks question, so additional point should be there. Okay, apply perceptron rule and for AND gate with 0 initialize. Every time for all these simple problems, Hebs, perceptron, delta, 0 initialization we are using. ठीक है. We specifically defining this word 0 initialization. Why? Because see नंतर आपण ना initialization चा concept पाहिलेला आहे. We can initialize the weight as different values, but for this simple problem we will use the 0 initialization only. म्हणजे सुरुवातीचे जे weight आहेत आपण ते zeros consider करणार आहोत. ठीक आहे. Every time we will define the function also, activation function. In exam also, see, if I am saying you, in exam also, if I am saying you, apply Hebs rule. Apply Hebs rule for AND gate. Apply Hebs rule for AND gate. So, I will give you the activation function also. Like what will be the activation function? That phi of I, it is equals to, I will define the activation function. It is equals to 1 if I greater than 0, and it is 0 for I less than or equals to 0. So this activation function, it will be defined there. Okay. And in delta only, sigmoidal function is there. Sigmoidal function, we know that. What is the sigmoidal function? Phi of I, it is equals to 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus I alpha, actually minus I alpha, where alpha generally we are assuming as 1. So this is simply 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus alpha. Even we are defining this activation functions also. Activation functions सुद्धा define केलेले असणार आहेत. Okay. Let us come to again the next question. Okay, so these are the simple questions. आपण already यातले बरेचसे questions पाहिलेले आहेत. The questions which I have solved also shared with you. तुमच्यासोबत share पण केलेले आहेत ते questions आता. But again I will explain you that questions here. Explain the feed forward neural network with the diagram. So this is, see, feed forward network with the diagram. Moderate question. So initially whatever I said, मी इकडे figure draw केलेली आहे. This is for feed forward. So you should completely explain the process. In step 1, we are calculating the summation function, which is equals to x1 w1, x2 w2, x3 w3. Then we are applying the activation function. The purpose of the activation function to make the output readable. How you are applying the activation function, which activation functions you are applying. Not, I am not saying you should describe each and every activation function, but you should at least mention one of the activation function, and accordingly what you will get, that you should describe. One more thing, we should add the concept of bias also here, as we are explaining the feed forward neural network. Feed forward, it is in one direction, that is the main definition, but how it is executing, how it is getting the final output, that also should describe in a moderate question. When my question is explain feed forward neural network. ठीक आहे. म्हणजे तुम्हाला जर थेरी लिहिताना काय लिहायचं हा क्वेश्चन पडू देऊ नका. You are having diagrams, you are having mathematical expression, so you should make a combination of theory as well as diagram and mathematical expression. Okay, let us come to the next question. Apply delta rule or get. So similar question is there. Now just see this in difficulty level question. Explain neural network and its execution with neat diagram. Now I will add all the things. मी feed forward पण add करणार. I will add the feed forward, as well as I will explain the concept in short. Okay, in short, about the back propagation also. Whenever it is a supervised learning, I am updating the weights so that I can minimize that loss and all. So in simple words, I will explain about the back propagation also, if my question is like this. ठीक आहे. Apply feed forward for the following neural network. आता काल तुम्ही, I don't know तुमच्यापैकी किती जणांनी क्वेश्चन पाहिलेले आहेत, पण हा क्वेश्चन जर तुमच्या समोर आलेला आहे. Apply feed forward apply feed forward network to calculate the total error. Now let me tell you how you can solve this question. याच्यासाठी आपण डिस्कस करूया. See, whenever your question is of this type, whenever your question it is of apply feed forward, apply feed forward, and what is the question, and then find out total error. Then find out total error. See this question. Apply feed forward for the following neural network and calculate the total error. If you are observing the figure, तुम्ही जे इकडे figure observe करताय, what this denote? 0.01 or 0.99. These are nothing but the targeted value. Okay, these are nothing but the targeted value. And for this, we are finding the actual value. And after finding the actual value, we are finding the error E1, E2, and addition of these two will gives me the final error or the total error. Like we are finding, आता तुम्हाला इथे मी प्रॉब्लेम ऑलरेडी सॉल्व्ह करून शेअर केलेला आहे. Okay, this was a simple example. It is already shared with you. मी काल गुगल क्लासरूमवर शेअर पण केलेला आहे. सो सी व्हॉट इज एक्सपेक्टेड. सिम्पलचा क्वेश्चन आहे, तुम्हाला इकडे पण मी दिलेला आहे. यू कॅन सॉल्व इट. आय थिंक 1 or 2 एक्झाम्पल आर गिवन सो दॅट यू कॅन व्हेरीफाय इट ऑल्सो. तुम्ही सॉल्व्ह करा. आन्सर्स पण मी तुम्हाला ऑलरेडी दिलेले आहेत तिथे. व्हॉट स्टेप्स वी आर फॉलोइंग. सी, this is applicable for everywhere, so please everyone try to understand this concept. Questions are very simple. 7 mark question. This is a 7 mark question you are having. One question I can almost design 3 to 4 types of mathematical question from the same one. So what we are doing, you are calculating first of all the summation functions I1, I2, I3. How you are calculating? Whatever the weights are coming to this I1, so W1, then W3, as well as W1 is coming here, as well as W3 it is coming to Y1. Then for Y2, if you are observing, W2, and another weight it is coming W5. For Y3, W5 and W6 it is coming. So accordingly you are finding the summation functions. Summation functions आपण find out केलेले आहेत. Once you find out the summation function, in step 2 you are finding the outputs. Output for which layer? These are the outputs now, Y1, Y2, Y3. These are the outputs for this layer. So you can calculate the outputs after applying the activation function. I am here giving the activation function also, which is sigmoidal function. So we can find out that output also by applying the sigmoidal function. You will get the outputs here, all the 3 outputs. Now when we are going for the next step, see, now Y1, Y2, Y3, they will be treated as the input for the next layer. This is the output which we are going to find out. Feed forward question. Feed forward question मध्ये काय असणार आहे तुम्हाला? Find out this output. For feed forward question, this is one type of question की जिथे तुम्हाला output find out करायचं आहे. What is the second type of question? A target value is given to you. Find out the output and so find out the error. This may be the question. Error find out करायचं म्हणजे you just need to find out the difference between calculated value and the output value. या दोन्हींमधला फक्त difference find out करायचा आहे. ठीक आहे. तर करंट प्रॉब्लेम मध्ये सगळ्यात पहिले आपण हे आउटपुट काढून घेणार. First we are finding the summation function. You are applying activation function. You are getting the outputs, and now for the next layer this will be work as inputs. हे as a input काम करतील. परत आपल्याला काय फाइंड आउट करायचंय? You are finding the summation function. You are finding the summation function. So summation function किस तरीके से find out कर रहे हो? Again using the same formula. This is the input. Y1 W7, Y2 W8, Y3 W9. Addition of this gives me the summation. Again you are applying the activation function. Paha, layers किती है, so every time the process it will be same. And this question will give you 7 mark. Compulsory for the question 1 and question 2, which is dependent on unit number 1, you are having the similar weightage. Feed forward network वरचे question तुमचे 7 mark साठीचे questions असणार आहेत. Where either the final output it is expected or the error it is expected from you. तर इकडे आपण काय फाइंड आउट करतो? the output you are finding. What steps you are finding? Applying summation function you are finding for every output. Then you are finding this output by applying the activation function. Then these outputs will be treated as the inputs for the next layer. या वेट्सचा यूज करून तुम्ही परत समेशन फंक्शन फाइंड आउट करताय, and again you are applying activation function to get the final output. Okay, so this is the method. And see, getting 7 marks, it is not at all difficult from this question. So I will request you all, I have shared already the solved question as well as the question which you can solve. एक unsolved question पण तुमच्यासोबत शेअर केलेला आहे. तो क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करून ठेवा. This will be definitely very much helpful for you. I know that many of you are doubtful about the theoretical points, but I am sure, मी तुम्हाला तेवढा अश्युरन्स देते, तुम्ही फक्त स्टेप्स फॉलो करा. Make a combination of figure, theory, mathematical equation. A theory question also you can write down properly. 4 मार्कासाठीचा क्वेश्चन मध्ये तुम्हाला कोणीच एक्सपेक्ट करत नाही की एक पेज मध्ये आन्सर लिहा. यू शुड जस्ट कन्सिडर द करेक्ट अँड इम्पॉर्टंट पॉइंट्स ओनली. ठीक आहे. तर आपण काय केलेलं आहे? समेशन, ऍक्टिव्हेशन फंक्शन, समेशन, ऍक्टिव्हेशन फंक्शन. नाउ हाऊ आय कॅन चेंज द क्वेश्चन? Whatever the output is there, if I am giving you final value, targeted value of the output, काहीतरी मी targeted value तुम्हाला इथे दिलेली आहे, then I will just change the question, find out the error value. So find out the error value. Instead of output, I will ask you the question for error value. So what is expected? तुम्ही काय करताय फक्त find out difference between that two errors. Find out difference between that two errors. Let me show you some examples here. If you are observing this as the question, इथे काय करतो आपण? There are two outputs. So two target values are given to you. These two target values are given to you. So what error I am expecting? Total error E1 plus E2. How you are calculating E1 and E2? If you remember, E1 or E2, always how you are finding E1 च find out करतोय. So this is equals to summation of y minus इथे काय, don't take tension for whether I should take yt by a or ya minus yt. Anyhow you are taking the square. ठीक है. So E total, if you are finding, this is equals to 1 by n. If two errors are there, 1 by 2. If you remember MSE, mean squared error. So you are taking mean of किती errors ahead? 2 errors are there. There are total 2 errors, and that's why when I am taking the mean, I am dividing by 2. Difference of yt minus ya whole square. So what will be this? This is equals to 1 by 2. This is equals to minus y2 whole square. So how I will find out answer for this question? इथे जी काही तुमची actual value आलेली आहे आणि इथे पण जी काही actual value आलेली आहे, you are taking difference of the two values, square of the differences, and adding them, dividing by 2 gives you the total error. So these two types 7 Okay, now again you can see the next question. Apply feed forward for neural network and calculate the final output. So there are two outputs we need to find out. Here you are finding, I will say I1, I2, I3. Then by using activation function, Y1, Y2, Y3. Then this Y1, Y2, Y3 will be treated as the inputs. Then again you are going for the next two outputs. So if I am assuming I1, I2, I3 झालेले आहेत, I3 and I4 again as the summation function, and then lastly Y4 and Y5 are your final outputs which I am expecting in the answer. Now if you are comparing with the previous one, this is not at all difficult to calculate this answer. बिल्कुल difficult नहीं है. Whether are you expecting to solve this problem here? Yes, are you expecting solution of this question? कारण मी सिमिलर क्वेश्चन तुम्हाला सॉल्व करून दिलेला आहे. यू जस्ट नीड टू अप्लाई द सेम स्टेप्स हियर.
मैम आप ये डॉक्यूमेंट शेयर करने वाले हो ना?
कौन सा ये वाला?
यस मैम.
एक्चुअली ना permission it is not given. Only we can discuss this. Again, I will talk with the ACs. If they permitted, I will share this document with you. Okay?
ओके मैम.
तो ये क्वेश्चन ऑलरेडी सॉल्व किया है. You can solve the question in similar way. See, little bit values are changed. Again, you need to find out the output here. हा same question मी तुम्हाला solve करून दिलेला आहे. And in similar way, you can solve this question. Okay? So, let me just revise. This is all for unit number 1. So in unit number 1, see, unit number 1 मध्ये तुम्ही theory साठी काय काय questions बघणार आहात. So points, if I am describing, what points you should remember. ठीक आहे? Architecture of neural network. Architecture of neural network, in which what is expected? Neatly diagram, where you should give all the names, what are the inputs, what are the layers. You should mention the layers also, input layer, hidden layer, output layer. Then that summation function, activation function, bias, output, everything you should mention in the figure. ठीक है. Architecture, after in architecture you should also explain the execution stepwise. ये सबसे पहला पॉइंट है हमारा. सो प्लीज चेक दिस. अब जो मैंने नोट्स बनाए हैं ना, नोट्स भी मैंने इसी फॉर्मेट में बनाए हैं, ठीक है. व्हाट मे बी द अदर क्वेश्चन, व्हाट इज द आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क, अ सिंपल क्वेश्चन इज देयर, ठीक है. ये भी क्वेश्चन हो सकता है कि व्हाट इज आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क. तो इसमें क्या एक्सपेक्टेड है, व्हाट इज एक्सपेक्टेड हियर. इट इज अ सिंपल क्वेश्चन वेयर वी शुड से दैट कि दिस इज अ मिमिक ऑफ बायोलॉजिकल न्यूरल नेटवर्क. Whatever the working is there for B and N, in similar way, how it is applicable for A and N. You should describe in short here for what is the A and N. ठीक है, how it is working and how it is applied in different field. So that answer also I will include. So notes जो हो गया ना, I will share a separate notes and I will share one more क्वेश्चन आंसर टाइप ऑफ नोट्स हियर. ओके, तो ये सेकेंड पॉइंट हो गया. अब इसमें ही कंटेंट वाइज अगर हम जाते हैं, इफ वी गो कंटेंट वाइज, सो वेयर विल बी द क्वेश्चन. द क्वेश्चन इट इज ऑन एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन. कहाँ पे क्वेश्चन हो सकता है, तो एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन पे क्वेश्चन होगा. एंड लेटर ऑन द क्वेश्चन इट इज ऑन बायस. एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन में आपको टाइप्स भी प्रॉपरली करने हैं, ठीक है. एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन में आपको टाइप्स भी प्रॉपरली करने हैं, एज वेल एज यू शुड चेक ऑल द फिगर्स ऑफ एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन, सो विच आर इजी टू एक्सप्लेन व्हाट इज द रेंज और हाउ इट इज वर्किंग, ठीक है. तो ये हो गया उसके कंटेंट के लिए. नो वन विल आस्क यू कि हिडन लेयर, अपर लेयर, इसके बारे में तो कोई नहीं पूछेगा. ये आर्टिफिशियल कंटेंट एनएन कंटेंट्स न्यूरल नेटवर्क के कंटेंट के लिए हो गया. उसके बाद व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट topic, that is types of neural network. In types, as I said, first you should talk about the working. According to the working, what are the different types. एक है feed forward, उसके बाद मैंने बोला था कि back propagation, and then last one it is recurrent. So these 3 points you should be prepared for these 3 points. Again, if you want, according to the number of layer, you can divide it into single layer and multi-layer. Okay, you can divide it into single layer and multi-layer. This is about the types of neural network. After this, what is the next point in unit number 1? Unit number 1 में इसके बाद क्या point आता है, learning methods के लिए. Once you understand how the neural network, what is the neural network, how it will work, then we are trying to understand how it will work. So in that, the first point it is learning methods, supervised, unsupervised and reinforced. Then the next point it is learning rule. Okay, then the next point it is learning rules. In learning rules you should concentrate on both theory और थ्योरी के साथ साथ ही आपको किस पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट करना है. विद द थ्योरी यू शुड कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन द न्यूमेरिकल्स आल्सो, क्योंकि यहाँ पे जो मॉडरेट वाले क्वेश्चंस हो गए ये लर्निंग रूल्स पे हो गए, ठीक है. आई विल रिपीट, जो थ्योरी और न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चन लर्निंग रूल्स पे, बोथ द पॉइंट्स आर वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट, स्पेशली द न्यूमेरिकल्स आई विल से. तो न्यूमेरिकल में आपको क्या देखना है, ऑल 3 रूल्स, हेब्स, परसेप्ट्रॉन एज वेल एज डेल्टा रूल, तीनों भी रूल्स, और तीनों पे भी प्रॉब्लम्स हो गए मॉडरेट में. ओके, ऑन मॉडरेट एव्हरी क्वेश्चन, तुमचा जो क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 असेल किंवा 2 असेल तर त्याच्यामध्ये मॉडरेट लेवलचे जे क्वेश्चन्स असतील दॅट विल बी ऑन लर्निंग रूल्स. ओके, सो बी परफेक्ट फॉर लर्निंग रूल्स, उसमें कोई भी गड़बड़ नहीं होनी चाहिए. एंड आफ्टर लर्निंग रूल्स, सो विथ दिस एक्चुअली वी कंप्लीटेड युनिट 1. युनिट 1 इथपर्यंतच कंप्लीट होऊन जाणार आहे. व्हॉट अबाउट back propagation? So as I said, the back propagation, this is the part of unit 2. So from where we are starting unit 2. Unit 2 मध्ये काय काय points असणार आहेत. The first and very important point, it will be back propagation. It will be back propagation. So what type of question will be there in back propagation? Back propagation के क्या type के questions होंगे? Let me show you that questions for unit number 2. सिंपल क्वेश्चंस अगर आप देखो, व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय कॉस्ट और लॉस फंक्शन. सो व्हाट इज द लॉस फंक्शन, लॉस फंक्शन, कॉस्ट फंक्शन मैंने नोट्स में भी शेयर किया है. व्हेन यू आर फाइंडिंग एरर बिटवीन 2 वैल्यूज कि लाइक y1 है और उसका टारगेटेड वैल्यू भी दिया है, सो दैट इज नथिंग बट लॉस फंक्शन. एंड व्हेन यू टेक टोटल लॉस, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज द कॉस्ट फंक्शन. ठीक है. So what is role of this? Optimization of that loss or cost function. This is nothing but the learning or training the given neural network. So all this point it should come here. ठीक है. If I want to increase weightage of this, मुझे इसी का अगर weightage increase करना है, so I will add one question. Describe the measures. ये वाला next question. What are the different measures used for calculation of loss function? As we know, what is the difficulty? आम्हाला माहिती आहे की तुमच्यासाठीची difficulty काय आहे. Most of you cannot write down theoretical part. So we will merge these two questions. ये दो questions हम merge कर देंगे. So what is expected? तो इसमें क्या एक्सपेक्टेड रहेगा आपसे. सो बैक प्रोपोगेशन से अपन में डिस्क्राइब करते हैं. सो पहला पॉइंट अगर हम लॉस फंक्शन, पहला तो बैक प्रोपोगेशन होगा, बट सिंपल क्वेश्चन में तो लॉस फंक्शन आ जाएगा. लॉस फंक्शन, व्हाट इज दिस? एरर बिटवीन. इफ यू कंसिडर व्हाट इज लॉस फंक्शन? yt minus y1. This will be the loss function. Okay, this will be the loss function. And what is cost function? Cost function में क्या आ जाएगा? In cost function, it will gives you the total error, E total. It will gives you the total error, E total. It is equals to summation of yt minus yt minus yi whole square, and you are taking average of this. So this is nothing but your cost function. ये cost function में आ जाएगा. ठीक है. What are the different techniques we are using? If you remember, one it is MAE. So while you are writing the answer, you should first of all describe this. And in MAE, what you should write down? First of all, the formula. You should write down the formula first of all. So what is this? This is equals to summation of 1 by n will be the mod of, modulus of. So mod of yt minus ya, yt minus ya, 1 by n summation of yt minus ya. This formula you should write down. As well as I have given you where you are writing, where you are using that MAE. MAE, it is useful whenever there is a major role of outlier data. After MAE, we are coming for MSE. What is the disadvantage of MAE? We cannot use whenever we need the differentiation of error function. So that's why we are using MSE. Again, we should write down the formula, that is 1 by n summation of yt minus ya whole square. Where we are using this, lot of time handling the MAE, it will be difficult just because of non-differentiability. MSE can be used as it is a differentiable function. So MSE, it is widely used. And then third one, if I am writing RMSE, RMSE, again the formula we can write down, only the square root of this we are taking just to adjust for the unit here. And fourth one, it is equals to cross entropy. So what is the cross entropy? This is used for combination of MAE and MSE both. दोनों के combination के लिए cross entropy use किया जाता है. Now for 4 mark answer, you can just imagine, first of all, you are writing about the loss function. Everywhere, MAE, MSE, RMSE, cross entropy, even if you are writing one line answer, where all important points you are collecting. What is the formula, where you are using, what are the disadvantages, what are the advantages. I think this will be a perfect answer. Okay, so this will be the first point. Maybe I will add loss function and types or measures to calculate the loss function. This will be the first question. Then, which type of neural network use associative memory concept and how? So can you give me answer for this question? I will repeat the question. Which type of neural network use associative memory concept and how? हमने different neural network पढ़े हैं. Feed forward, back propagation, recurrent. So which neural network uses associative memory? Can you tell me?
Recurrent.
Recurrent. Yes, correct. Very good. So what answer it is expected here? Which type of neural network? So recurrent neural network uses associative memory. So what is concept of this? तो associative memory concept it is expected to describe कि क्या होता है associative memory concept. So that answer you should describe here. ठीक है? I will repeat कि recurrent neural network uses the associative memory. And what is the purpose of that? Actually, ये add क्यों किया गया है neural network? Why I am not only asking what is the concept of associative memory? You can connect this too. In recurrent network, we need that feedback. And so that whatever you are training the data, it should be saved. And that is possible with the associative memory. So it will automatically cover the concept of associative memory. Okay, this is in a easy level question only. Describe working of Hopfield network. If you remember now, एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी, एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी ये हमारा नेक्स्ट पॉइंट था यहाँ पे, एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी. सो इन एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी व्हाट यू शुड प्रिपेयर, इसमें आपको क्या क्या करना चाहिए. एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी में हाउ टू रीड, because how to write, it is a simple thing, it is just finding empty location and it will save the data. So reading वाला part, writing वाला part बहुत easy है, but reading वाला part में थोड़ा बहुत हमें efforts लेना पड़ेगा. If you remember, we are using that argument register, key register, then associative memory and its a logic gate, and then match register. If you remember, that argument register वाला concept हम क्या use करते हैं, argument register and then key register. ऐसे दो concepts हमने देखे थे. What is the use? If you are writing any number 0 1 1 1 0. So key register will decide. ये हमें find out करना है. Actually what we have to find out, that will be decided by argument register. But key register, इसमें से exactly कौन से letters को match करना है, that will decided by the key register. Like if I am writing 1 0 0 1 1 0 0 0. So wherever that 1 comes, जहां जहां पे 1 आ रहा है, वो letters मुझे compulsory match होने चाहिए. ये 0 जहां पे आ रहा है की रजिस्टर्स में, दिस इज नॉट मैंडेटरी. ठीक है, तो कोई भी अगर आपके सामने वर्ड आता है, सो व्हाट यू विल चेक फर्स्ट, दिस 3 पोजीशंस, 1 2 और ये 3, ये 3 पोजीशंस आप पहले चेक करोगे, ये मैच होने ही चाहिए. बाकी जहां पे 0 0 आ रहे हैं, दे आर नॉट मैंडेटरी. ठीक है, ये 0 0 0 मैंडेटरीज नहीं है. तो मुझे कहीं पे भी जाना है तो यहाँ पे 1, यहाँ पे 0 और ये 1, किसी भी वर्ड के लिए मुझे ये कंपलसरी है. बाकी सारे नंबर्स में मैं ज्यादा कॉन्सेंट्रेट नहीं करूंगी. सो हाउ एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी रीड, हाउ इट विल वर्क, दैट यू शुड बी एबल टू डिस्क्राइब इफ इट इज अ थ्योरी क्वेश्चन होता है तो. सो इसमें ही हम ऐड क्या करेंगे, व्हाट इज द कंसेप्ट ऑफ एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी एज वेल एज व्हाट आर द टाइप्स ऑफ एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी. इसमें टाइप्स भी आ जाएंगे. ठीक है, टाइप्स ऑफ एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी. सो वी नो दैट देयर आर 2 टाइप्स, वन इज एटो and other it is hetero. One is atto and other it is hetero associative memory. तो दोनों में भी क्या important रहेगा, if theory question describing within 2 line, because it is in combination with the associative memory only. And यहाँ पे दोनों में भी हमें important क्या रहेगा, न्यूमेरिकल्स. ओके, यहाँ पे जो मॉडरेट लेवल के क्वेश्चंस आएंगे सेकंड यूनिट में, उसमें न्यूमेरिकल के एटो और हेटेरो एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी के जो सिंपल क्वेश्चंस है, दैट आर वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट. वो भी क्वेश्चंस इंपॉर्टेंट रहेंगे. ठीक है, दिस इज फॉर ओवरऑल एटो एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी. लेट अस कम टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन अगेन. डिस्क्राइब वर्किंग ऑफ हॉपफील्ड नेटवर्क. हॉपफील्ड नेटवर्क का वर्किंग, इफ यू रिमेंबर, हॉपफील्ड नेटवर्क के वर्किंग में हमें क्या आना चाहिए, हॉपफील्ड नेटवर्क. सो इफ यू रिमेंबर सम ऑफ द पॉइंट्स आई हैव हाइलाइटेड, हॉपफील्ड नेटवर्क, सो you should cover these points. So this is a symmetrical network. Symmetrical network means what? In symmetrical network means Wij, it is equals to Wji. Okay, as well as it is one type of supervised learning, क्योंकि आपके पास already output है. ठीक है, so it is one type of supervised learning. Then again ये सिमेट्रिकल के साथ साथ हमें क्या पता है, Wii it is equals to 0. And you can understand, if I am writing this point, this is can be explained easily by using the figure. So you should draw the figure. So what you should remember while drawing the figure, number of inputs and number of outputs are always same here. So बघा, ये पॉइंट्स या पद्धतीने यायला पाहिजे. इंस्टेड ऑफ डिस्क्राइबिंग थेरेटिकली, यू शुड राइट डाउन पॉइंट वाइज. फॉर द हॉपफील्ड नेटवर्क, it is a supervised learning, it comes under the supervised learning. Then number of inputs and okay is equals to number of output. It is equals to number of output. This is very much important. Now later on you can write down these 2 points also, but it can be described properly by using the figure. Number of output, number of input, number of outputs are same. Okay, you are applying the overall process, but while it is starting to giving the feedback, as it is a recurrent network, Hopfield using the recurrent network, so it is giving feedback to. It is giving feedback to. It is not giving feedback to himself, but it is giving feedback to other two outputs. Okay, you can give proper notations also. Now, this is not giving feedback to himself, but giving feedback to other two outputs. So ये y1, y2, y3 है, तो y1, y2 और y3 को feedback देगा. y2, y1 and y3 को feedback देगा. So you should describe this through the figures also. ठीक है? In PPT properly, sorry. In PPT, figures are given. So see that figures. I am just drawing a very rough figure here. So Hopfield network, if I am asking you a question of 4 marks, all this theoretical point, I am writing this as well as these are the mathematical expression. You can add this whenever you are finding Hopfield network में अभी आपको क्या पता है, even you know about the training. If the question it is for 6 marks or for 7 marks, you can add this point to training algorithm as well as टेस्टिंग एल्गोरिथम. ट्रेनिंग एल्गोरिथम एंड टेस्टिंग एल्गोरिथम आप ये भी इसमें ऐड कर सकते हो, एंड दिस विल बी अ परफेक्ट एंड प्रॉपर आंसर. ओके, नाउ लेट अस कम टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. हाउ एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी read the words, explain the system. Already I have given you the answer for this. What is the difference between epoch, batch and iteration in deep learning? ठीक है. So epoch, batch and iterations. So if you see epoch, batch and iterations, so if I am considering a class of 100 student, a class of 100 student, so if you are considering in one sample all the 100 student, this will be considered as a batch. Or if you are dividing that 100 student into 50-50, this is nothing but a batch. This is nothing but a batch. जहां पे आपका पूरा डेटा आता है, तो how you are applying it, according to that the batch it will be decided. The complete data it may be a batch, or if you are dividing into 2 parts, that will also consider a batch. ठीक है. epoch के लिए हमने क्या बोला था, epoch epoch it is nothing but when your complete data set हर एक इनपुट ट्रेन हो रहा है, तो कंप्लीट डेटा सेट ट्रेन होता है, दैट इज नथिंग बट अ कंप्लीट वन इपोक. ये हो गया पूरा इपोक. अगर आप 100 को 2 बैचेस में कन्वर्ट कर रहे हो, तो कितने यहाँ पे क्या हो जाएगा, एक ही इपोक हो रहा है. पूरा बैच आपका कंप्लीट बैच गोइंग थ्रू द ट्रेनिंग, सो 1 इपोक विल बी देयर. बट आपने इसको और इसको अलग कर दिया, सो देयर विल बी 2 इटरेशंस. देयर विल बी 2 iterations. ओके, एक इटरेशन हो गया और ये दूसरा इटरेशन हो गया. देयर विल बी 2 iterations. So batch, epoch, iterations. In notes I have added this too. So with some simple example, this may be in your own language, you can describe with one simple example too. What is the batch, what is the epoch, or what is the iteration? Okay, this will be a very simple question. Then the next question, this is moderate level question now. In moderate level questions, see what do you mean by gradient descent? Describe types of gradient descent algorithms. Now we are merging these two so that you can write down. So what is the gradient descent? You should describe the concept of gradient descent. So gradient descent का पूरा concept आ जाना चाहिए. So what is the concept of gradient descent? So first thing is you should start with what is the gradient. ठीक है, सबसे पहले तो क्या आना चाहिए, ग्रेडियंट. ग्रेडियंट इट इज नथिंग बट डेल बाय डेल डब्ल्यू ऑफ ई. दिस इज नथिंग बट योर ग्रेडियंट. डिसेंट, यू आर ट्राइंग टू डिसेंट इट. ओके, यू आर ट्राइंग टू डिसेंट इट इन दिस प्रोसेस. तो आपका ग्रेडियंट कहीं पे यहाँ पे है और आप यहाँ पे लाने के लिए ट्राई कर रहे हो. दिस इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ ग्रेडियंट डिसेंट. सो दिस इज गिवन इन द प्रोसेस आल्सो. I will repeat it. E, you should start with the loss function. Gradient, it is del E by del W. And this process, by adjusting the weights as well as other parameter like bias, you are trying to minimize it, because we know that del E by del W gives me that E, it will be minimum. And this process, it is nothing but the gradient descent. Okay, in continuation with this, the question it is describe types of gradient descent algorithms. Gradient descent, it comes with algorithms only. So gradient descent algorithms. I'm just asking you for gradient descent algorithms. So you can describe here first three algorithms, that is sufficient. Okay, like what are that first three? Batch wise. Batch wise. Okay, batch wise gradient descent algorithm. Then the second one it is stochastic. Stochastic gradient descent algorithm. And what is the third one? Third one क्या आ रहा है? Third one it is nothing but mini batch wise. ओके, डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज इन बैच वाइज एंड मिनी बैच वाइज. बैच वाइज में क्या आता है? आपका पूरा डेटा एक बैच कंसीडर किया जाता है. स्टोकेस्टिक में क्या आता है? रैंडमनेस विल बी देयर. every sample or every row or every observation will be considered to calculate the error and to update the weights. Mini batch में क्या आता है? You are defining a particular batch, that is a data of 1 lakh, it will be divided into 100 batches. A mini batch it will be considered, and batch wise that gradient descent process will be applied. So if such question is there, even for the moderate level, फर्स्ट एक्सप्लेन द कंसेप्ट ऑफ ग्रेडियंट डिसेंट और उसके बाद ना इसके टाइप्स के लिए एक्सप्लेन करूं. ठीक है. Now the next question. I think in between, if you are having doubts related to some question, that also you can simultaneously ask me. Okay. The next question it is, how to initialize weights in neural network? What techniques are used for neural net initialization? So what you can write down about the weight initialization? For weight initialization, see, for weight initialization, we know that what are the techniques. So first we should write down about what is the weight initialization. So what is the weight initialization? We know that. Selecting the correct weight, it is very much important in optimization. तो जो हमारा मेन कंसेप्ट है ट्रेनिंग द न्यूरल नेटवर्क और लर्निंग ऑफ द न्यूरल नेटवर्क, इन विच वेट्स आर आल्सो प्लेइंग अ मेजर रोल. सो you should consider the correct values of weights. 0, 0, 0, it will be difficult to update the weights. So that's why weight initialization, it will be not 0, 0, 0. And that's why we are going for the weight initialization techniques. So what points we are considering? If you remember, the first point we should consider, the value should be very small. The second things, if you remember, they should not same nahi hone chahiye, not same. Then third point it is good variance should be there. Okay, good variance should be there. So this point you should describe in the weight initialization, and then in the simple word you should talk about the techniques. Which techniques we are using? The techniques we are using are, first one it is uniform. No particular technique, uniformly. So actually in all the software, आप कोई भी software use करो, वहाँ पे ना एक command available होता है. Like any interval if you are giving, if I am giving a interval 0 to 1, it will select कितने number चाहिए आपको? 10. So 10 values it will select randomly from these values. Okay. So uniform एक command होता है वहाँ पे. ठीक है. So one is uniform technique, other it is Xavier's Glaraut. So this technique in Xavier and Glaraut, again it is divided into uniform as well as normal. Uniform as well as normal. And the third technique, it is nothing but the he-int technique. These three techniques we are using. Again, this he-int technique, it is also divided into uniform as well as normal. Okay? Even if you are writing this part properly and these are all the types, that is more than sufficient for the answer in theoretical form also. Weight initialization. Why is zero initialization of weight not a good initialization technique? Why it is not good? That is described. Actually, when you are giving a weight 0, अगर वो 0 होता है तो कोई updation ही नहीं मिलता है. ठीक है. Every time we are expecting that weight it should be updated, but when we are initializing the weight to 0, the weights it will be not updated. Weight update नाही होणार आहे त्याच्यामध्ये. ठीक आहे. So proper answers are given in the notes also. Please go through it. Compare between batch wise, stochastic, mini batch wise gradient descent. So at the time of introducing all this, I have explained this part too. batch wise, stochastic, mini batch wise. As I promised, today itself I will share a recorded video on the gradient descent algorithms, because for ENTC division I think I told that, and for comp division some of the students need it, so I will share this recorded video for batch wise, stochastic, mini batch wise. If you see the PPT, in PPT which figures properly comparison it is given, as well as speed wise comparison it is given, as well as performance wise that comparison it is given, and that will be the better option while you are writing the answer. ठीक है. एंड इनिशियली फॉर द प्रोसेस कि बैच वाइज क्या होता है कि पूरा बैच आता है, स्टोकेस्टिक में क्या होता है, रैंडमनेस होता है, वन बाय वन यू आर टेकिंग द सैंपल्स, एंड मिनी बैच दैट बैचेस आर डिफाइंड एंड दैट आर फिक्स. सो accordingly all the differences are given, so I will share one small video on the gradient descent today. ठीक है. Then the next one, explain the Adam optimization algorithm. Adam, this is the most updated, where we are using the concept of momentum as well as adaptive learning rate also, and that's why this is the most updated optimization technique. So what you should write down, what techniques it is using, काय काय याच्यामध्ये आपल्याला benefits मिळतात, that you should describe here. Mathematical expression you should describe here. Okay. Then let us come to this question. Today I will share the mathematical questions for unit number 2 also. ये देखो ये वाला question. So can any one of you tell me how many weights? अगर मैंने question दिया find range of interval for the following neural network by using all three techniques. This is my question. So try to understand. हमें तीनों भी टेक्निक यूज करने हैं. यूनिफॉर्म फर्स्ट वन, देन Xavier's uniform, Xavier's as well as ही इंट. तो कैन यू टेल मी, अगर मैंने बोला कि मुझे बस इस फर्स्ट लेयर के लिए आई जस्ट वांट टू फाइंड आउट रेंज फॉर दिस फर्स्ट लेयर, हाउ आई कैन सॉल्व इट, हमें किस तरीके से सॉल्व करना है. कैन यू टेल मी हाउ मेनी वेट्स आर प्रेजेंट हियर इन दिस लेयर, बिकॉज आई वांट Ni. Don't count the lines, count this inputs and these neurons. Every input connected with every neuron. Yes, how many weights?
20.
It's 20. 4 into 5 gives me 20. So this is my request to all of you. If such type of question is there, don't count the lines. Inputs, neurons, every input is connected with every neuron. So accordingly, you can count out. This is 4, this is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 it is connected to 5. So 5 into 4 gives me 20. So 20 है. Now if you remember, अलग अलग टेक्निक्स यूज करो. तो अलग अलग टेक्निक यूज करने सबसे पहली टेक्निक क्या है, यूनिफॉर्म. दिस इज अ मैथमेटिकल प्रॉब्लम. सो यूनिफॉर्म के लिए रेंज क्या होती है, यूनिफॉर्म के लिए रेंज होती है माइनस ऑफ अंडर रूट ऑफ Ni, comma 1 by under root of Ni. Okay, so how we can write down, see this, minus of 1 by Ni में कितने थे, 20, comma 1 by under root of 20. It is not at all difficult, very easily you will get the answer. तो ये क्या मिला मुझे, range. By using which technique? By using uniform technique. So how you should write down your answer? There are 3 different techniques used for weights initialization. The first one, it is uniform, according to which the range of weight initialization is this one, which is equals to, as the value of Ni, it is equals to 20. It gives me the first answer. Okay, now let us come to the second one. Second technique, it is Xavier's. If I am going for the Xavier's technique, इसमें भी हमें 2 टाइप पता है. If I am going with the normal one, normal के लिए अगर आप जा रहे हो 0, सिग्मा होता है, 0, सिग्मा, that is 0, under root of 2 by Ni plus No. ठीक है. So this is the technique. So what is the range here? 0, under root of 2 by Ni का value है 20 plus. If you see this figure here, this N out, these weights. Okay, N out are nothing but these weights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 weights. So 20 plus 5 I can use here. 20 plus 5 I can use here. So what will be the range by using Xavier's normal distribution? This gives me 0, under root of 2 by 20 plus 2 by 25. This will be the range by using the Xavier's normal technique for the weight initialization. So in similar way, you can write down all other formulas. We know what is other formulas. 6 by. अभी यहाँ पे ही यूनिफॉर्म में क्या आता है? यूनिफॉर्म में आता है अंडर रूट ऑफ 6 बाई ni plus no. This is minus and under root of 6 by ni plus no. So you can just put this value. So minus 6 by 25 comma under root 6 by 25. This gives me the range of weight initialization. No one is asking what are the weights. Okay, I am just asking this interval. I am just asking you this interval range. I am just asking you this interval. So this is by using two techniques. One more technique that is remaining, he int, where no roll of n out is there. Only the roll of वेट्स आर देअर. म्हणजे कुठला फक्त हे वेट्सचा रोल असणार आहे ही इंट मध्ये. सो ओनली आय एम एक्सपेक्टिंग, वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग दिस रेंज और दिस इंटरवल्स for this question, and I really don't think this is a difficult question. A 5-mark question will be this, and very easily you can find out that range by using all the techniques. Okay, this is for second unit mathematical question. Now what will be there in the difficulty level question? Difficulty level, explain associative memory and its types. See, this is a difficulty level question which is already I have described कि associative memory का concept क्या है, and later on just write down about the auto-associative and hetero-associative. So you should understand auto-associative में input output दोनों भी same होते हैं. Hetero-associative में input and output are different. So you can give a simple example also. Notes में भी मैंने share किया है, जैसे कि कोई letter का missing part find out करना, या अगर letter का letters are same, input output it is same, images है same image का आप missing part find out कर रहे हो, that is under auto-associative. Hetero-associative में क्या आ जाएगा? If you are trying to identify category of some particular types, तो उसमें obviously category और उसका original type, इसके input output तो same नहीं रहेंगे. If you are talking about animals, this is a category, and in that a particular animal, dog if you are taking, so that is one of the category. So input है dog और इसका category identify किया जा रहा है animal, so that is in hetero. So you can use some simple examples too. Let me just tell you कि आपका understanding check करना है यहाँ पे. So how you are giving the answer, that is very much important. No one is expecting lengthy answers, everyone is expecting correct and point वाइज आंसर्स. ठीक है, तो एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी का कंसेप्ट क्या होता है, हाउ इट इज यूज्ड, वेयर इट इज यूज्ड इन अ फीडबैक नेटवर्क, पर्टिकुलरली इट इज यूज्ड व्हेनेवर वी वांट टू सेव द आउटपुट फ्रॉम द इनपुट डेटा. वी आर यूजिंग द concept of associative memory, how it is read, how it is write. You can just write down about the argument register, key register, everything you should write down, because this is a difficulty level question, so accordingly answer it is expected. And later on you can go for the auto-associative and hetero-associative, so a proper answer it will gives you. अब इसके आगे ये वाला क्वेश्चन, अप्लाई बैक प्रोपगेशन टू अपडेट द वेट्स W35 this weight and W13 this weight. So in one layer I am updating one weight and in other layer I am updating one more weight. तो दोनों भी weight को हमें update करना है. So if you are observing its target value is 0.6, means what is given? आपको feed forward apply करके दिया है. So please everyone try to understand. A question of 7 marks. एक क्वेश्चन है 7 मार्क के लिए क्वेश्चन है, तो फीड फॉरवर्ड का डेटा दिया है आपको, दे आर फाइंडिंग I1, I2, देन Y1, Y2, ये पूरा उन्होंने फाइंड आउट कर लिया. अगेन दे आर फाइंडिंग वन मोर समेशन फंक्शन, अप्लाई कर दिया, दे आर गेटिंग Wi-Fi. एंड व्हाट इज दिस Wi-Fi? 0.6. सो फीड फॉरवर्ड इट इज अप्लाइड, इट इज गिवन टू यू. Now what process it is expected from you? Remember, for the questions of back propagation, ये जो बैक प्रोपोगेशन वाले क्वेश्चन है, यहाँ पे दोनों भी पॉइंट्स इंपॉर्टेंट है, थ्योरी एज वेल एज न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चन, बोथ विल बी देयर फॉर 7 मार्क क्वेश्चन. अगर थ्योरी वाला क्वेश्चन आता है, इफ द क्वेश्चन इट इज ऑफ थ्योरी, व्हाट यू शुड राइट डाउन, यहाँ पे आपको क्या आना चाहिए, नीड डायग्राम. द फर्स्ट पॉइंट इट इज नीड डायग्राम, जहां से मुझे इजीली समझ में आना चाहिए. आई हैव कैलकुलेटेड लाइक इफ यू कंसिडर, यहाँ पे आप प्रॉपरली लेयर्स देके प्रॉपरली नेटवर्क कंसिडर करो. इफ आई एम गेटिंग सच एन आउटपुट, okay, this is the output. You are comparing yt and y actual. Okay, so here itself you can mention it is equals to yt minus ya. In figure itself you can mention this. Then you are going on the back propagation to update the weights. Now this process can be described properly. First you should explain about the feed forward, how the feed forward we are applying. Okay, you should explain this feed forward. You are finding the summation function, you are applying activation function, and you are getting the final output. You are comparing this with the y target. You are calculating the error function. Different error functions are available. Don't explain this. But if you are applying that MSE, so you should write down the error as 1/2 or 1/n summation of yt minus ya whole square. You can call it as the error function, but avoid this. Use the word loss function or cost function. So now to optimize this is our main aim. By using the buck propagation, you are updating the weight so that whatever feed forward we are applying, according to that the value of error it will be less. हम इस वैल्यू ऑफ ए को मिनिमाइज करने के लिए जा रहे हैं. different algorithms can be used, but a concept gradient descent we are applying where the weights are updated by using this formula w old it is equals to w new it is equals to w old minus alpha del e by del w I. Then how you are finding this? In short, you can write down how you are adjusting this weight. So all this process will come under a question of 7 mark. Need diagram, the complete process or execution, later on the mathematical expressions to update the parameters. What is our aim is minimizing the value of loss function. This is our main aim. And what process we are applying? Different algorithms can be used, and by using the gradient descent, this formula we are using where del E by del W is equals to gradient. How you are calculating in one line you can write down. So this is the theoretical question of 7 mark. अब जो मैथमेटिकल क्वेश्चन है, फॉर द मैथमेटिकल क्वेश्चन देखो मैथमेटिकल क्वेश्चन में क्या होने वाला है. आई विल रिपीट द सेम थिंग अगेन एंड अगेन. नो नीड टू कैलकुलेट दिस वाईफाई, ये आपको दिया है. व्हाट इज एक्सपेक्टेड नाउ? कंपैरिजन ऑफ वाईफाई विद द टारगेटेड वैल्यू. इस क्वेश्चन में सॉरी टारगेट वैल्यू मैंने दिया है, एक माझ्याकडनं राहिलंय. इवन आई विल गिव यू द एक्चुअल वैल्यू ऑल्सो. ठीक है, जब बैक प्रोपोगेशन का क्वेश्चन होगा बोथ विल बी गिवन टू यू. आपको दोनों भी दिए जाएंगे, वाई टारगेटेड वैल्यू एंड वाई एक्चुअल वैल्यू बोथ आर गिवन. दोनों भी क्या होंगे? गिवन होंगे. नाउ व्हाट इज एक्सपेक्टेड फ्रॉम यू? फर्स्ट स्टेप कैलकुलेट द एरर. सबसे पहले आपको ई कैलकुलेट करना है. ठीक है, सबसे पहले ई कैलकुलेट करो, देन सी द क्वेश्चन. अगर आप क्वेश्चन देखते हो तो आपको ये वेट और ये वेट कैलकुलेट करना है. फॉर दिस टू वेट्स व्हाट प्रोसेस वी आर फॉलोइंग? कौन सा फॉर्मूला यूज करोगे? तो यही फॉर्मूला यूज करने वाले हो. W इट इज इक्वल्स टू W old minus alpha. Alpha learning rate it will be provided to you. So यहाँ पे हमेशा क्या आने वाला है? This is equals to minus of yt minus y actual value. कि like यहाँ पे corresponding value क्या है? मुझे अगर W35 adjust करना है yt minus so yt y. So यहाँ पे आ गया ना yt and y. Okay. So 0.6 and whatever the actual value I am giving, like the actual value if it is 0.5, अगर actual value 0.5 आ रहा है calculation से, so you are finding that error one by one. You are putting it in this formula minus of yt minus y del e. मैंने ना कल जो PPT share किया, in PPT I have explained all the steps very properly. This, what process you are applying? Error का value है 1/2 yt minus y. E yt minus y whole square. Y it is output of y of what? Phi of I it is equals to wi xi plus v. The same rule you are using for back propagation also. This is part of delta running. ये delta running का आप simple formula use कर सकते हो. So I want to find out differentiation of E with respect to wi. So हमें ये चेन मिल रहा है E function of y function of I function of w. So you can write down the derivative. E should be differentiated with respect to y should be differentiated with respect to I should be differentiated with respect to wi. तो मुझे यहाँ पे del E by del wi मिलेगा. Del E by del y इसका डेरिवेटिव क्या आ जाएगा? डेरिवेटिव ऑफ दिस इज इक्वल्स टू 1/2 as it is into 2 yt minus y into derivative of this with respect to y, because with respect to y you are finding derivative which is equals to -1. So that's why this minus sign it is coming here. Then y equals to phi of I. So what is derivative del y by del I? This is phi dash of. ये z एक्चुअली यहाँ पे z भी कंसिडर कर सकते हो, i भी कंसिडर कर दो. i की जगह पे आप z भी कंसिडर कर सकते हो, ठीक है. सो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम phi of I और phi of z summation it is denoted by either z or by I. So that phi dash of z into derivative of this it is equals to xi. So phi dash of z क्या आना चाहिए? What should be the value of phi dash of z? Back propagation के लिए this is a shortcut. So phi dash of z it will be phi dash of z. अगर आपको कोई ऐसा फंक्शन दिया है phi of z equals to z, a unit function, then phi dash of z it will be 1. But हमें क्या पता है? Most of the time we are using this. Most of the time we are using this 1/1 plus e to the power minus z sigmoidal function. So it can be written like this. We can simplify this. हा तुम्ही simplify करू शकता. This can be written as 1/1 plus e to the power minus z. This can be written as 1 by see this. ये किस तरीके से लिखा जा सकता है? This is equals to e to the power minus z plus 1 divided by 1 plus e to the power minus z minus 1. See, I am just adjusting this plus and minus 1. I will just remove this alpha. So this is equals to, on separating the terms, this by this is equals to 1 square अगर हम लेते हैं. So this is equals to 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus z. And other term it is equals to minus of 1 by 1 plus e to the power minus z whole square. Okay, so how it can be written? This is nothing but y actually. Okay, this is nothing but y actually, and later on again by using the similar simplification I will get this is nothing but 1 minus y. So instead of, see, choice will be yours. Choice will be yours. हम इसका directly derivative लेते हैं, so I will get such a derivative. If you want, you can directly put the summation values here. एक तो ये एक way है, otherwise this is the another way. Y into 1 minus y. Y into 1 minus y. Y it is nothing but the output. तो आपको ये करने की जगह पे instead of finding this, you can just find out this. Both ways are available here to apply the back propagation, and same formula you are using for the delta learning rule also. दोनों के लिए भी आप ये use कर सकते हो, ठीक है? ओके, सो दिस इज फॉर बैक प्रोपोगेशन क्वेश्चन. दिस इज ऑफ 7 मार्क्स. ये 7 मार्क के लिए रहेगी फिर से. एंड लास्टली सी एक्सप्लेन ग्रेडियंट डिसेंट. अब इसमें भी 6 मार्क के लिए है, 5 मार्क के लिए आ रहा है. उस अकॉर्डिंगली हमें टाइप्स को डिफाइन करना है. इसमें सारे के सारे टाइप्स आ रहे हैं. ऑल द टाइप्स यू शुड मेंशन. एक्सप्लेन बैक प्रोपोगेशन मैंने ऑलरेडी एक्सप्लेन कर दिया है. And the last one, construct an auto-associated discrete half-filled network with input vector. And this is very simple actually. Half-filled network के problem हमने already देखे हैं. This is under a 7 mark question. 7 mark के लिए question आ रहा है. Yes, sometimes if a simple question is there, maybe it is of moderate question also. 5 marks के लिए भी question ये आ जाएगा. So for यूनिट नंबर 2, व्हाट विल बी द डिफिकल्टी लेवल क्वेश्चन. बैक प्रोपोगेशन से रिलेटेड ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस हमारे डिफिकल्टी लेवल में जाएंगे. व्हाट न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चन विल बी देयर? फाइंडिंग द रेंज ऑफ इनिशियलाइजेशन ऑफ वेट्स. सेकंड थिंग हाफ फील्ड. थर्ड थिंग एटो एसोसिएट या हेटेरो एसोसिएटिव के प्रॉब्लम, ये न्यूमेरिकल में रहेंगे. ओके एंड थ्योरी में क्या क्या पॉइंट रहेंगे इन थ्योरी द पॉइंट्स इट विल बी लॉस फंक्शन दिस इज फॉर यूनिट 3 in unit 3 different points are there loss function then weight initialization weight initialization this is one of the point then third point it is talking about the optimization obviously it is about all the gradient uske sare types ये पूरा थ्योरी में आ जाएगा एंड द लास्ट एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट दैट इज बैक प्रोपोगेशन ये बैक प्रोपोगेशन आ गया सॉरी एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी ये भी थ्योरी में ही आ जाएगा एसोसिएटिव मेमोरी दिस आर द पॉइंट्स फॉर यूनिट नंबर 2 न्यूमेरिकल में वेट इनिशियलाइजेशन पे होगा लास्ट फंक्शन इट्स वेरी सिंपल सो नो क्वेश्चन विल बी देयर वेट इनिशियलाइजेशन पे क्वेश्चन होगा एंड बैक प्रोपोगेशन पे होगा और हाफ फील्ड नेटवर्क पे क्वेश्चन होगा 3 पॉइंट्स हो गए न्यूमेरिकल क्वेश्चंस के लिए सो दिस इज द ओवरऑल अबाउट यूनिट नंबर 1 and 2 लेट मी टॉक अबाउट यूनिट नंबर 3 if we are talking about the unit number 3 here write the activation function and their MATLAB syntax so I think in the previous lecture of unit number 3 that is on MATLAB it is already explained what are the syntax for that activation function what should be the parameters used how you are writing that activation function so this is expected this is an easy level that is a 4-mark question here only 4 and 6 mark questions will be there later on write different neural network learning algorithms and their MATLAB syntax so this is all available with shared PDF जो PDF शेयर किया है उसमें ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है ये बट जो MATLAB के सिंटैक्स रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन हो गए फॉर दैट इट इज मस्ट टू सी दैट वीडियो अगर आप वीडियो चेक करते हो सो इट विल टेक अ वेरी लेस टाइम बहुत ही कम टाइम लेगा ये and see this question also write a program in MATLAB to train a feed forward input delay back propagation network so आपने अगर वो लास्ट वाला वीडियो देखा है फॉर MATLAB जो लास्ट वीक में हमने शेयर किया था 2 hours का see only these functions are changing the things we are applying are same what activation function you are applying how many neural layers are there how many neurons are there or what algorithm you are using everything it is standard one only so ये भी नहीं बोलेंगे कि मगअप करना है once or twice if you are applying that programming easily you can write down this question it is of 6 marks actually ये जो questions है जहाँ पे आपको प्रोग्राम का कोड लिखना है and you are not generating the code it is standard one only according to your this function you are making little bit changes okay कि आपको आउटपुट किस तरीके से चाहिए ये रेंज क्या है आपको कितने न्यूरॉन चाहिए कितने लेयर्स चाहिए कौन सा एक्टिवेशन फंक्शन यूज करना है एवरीथिंग इज देयर यू जस्ट नीड टू राइट डाउन इट ठीक है write the syntax of new EFF so this is the syntax actually which you are applying for the particular programming so this syntax it is also given and it is discussed in that video also ये भी डिस्कस किया गया है so यहाँ पे 2 ही क्वेश्चंस हो गए because the weightage it is of only 10 marks so जो लास्ट क्वेश्चंस हो गए जो क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 क्वेश्चन नंबर 2 it is on unit number 1 then question number 3 question number 4 it is on unit number 2 ये हो गए unit number 2 पे and question number 5 question number 6 it is on unit number 3 what patterns we will follow दोनों के लिए भी पैटर्न क्या होगा only 2 bits will be there one it is of 4 mark and one it is of 6 mark 4 मार्क में आपको सिंपल सिंटैक्स पूछे जाएंगे यहाँ पे न्यू एफएफडी या प्रोग्राम दिया गया है उसका प्रोग्रामिंग लिखना ये आपको क्वेश्चन होगा 6 मार्क्स के लिए हियर द क्वेश्चन इट इज ऑफ 20 मार्क्स लेट मी जस्ट रिमाइंड 4 5 yes here the questions are 4 5 and 7 okay for both similar pattern we are following 4 2 marks 2 easy questions will be there one question it is of 5 marks and one question it is of 7 marks okay total 20 marks same pattern we are following here also 2 questions of 4 marks one question it is of 5 marks and one question it is of 7 marks so this pattern we are going to follow here okay so this is the overall pattern see I really don't know why, means little bit fear is there about the neural network. As compared to all your subject, I am confident that you can score good marks in this subject. Already you know about each and everything, but only how you should write down, that is the difficult task. As I said, I have explained you should make a combination of theory, diagrams, mathematical derivations or expression which we are using for that particular concept. Okay, for the theoretical questions. For mathematical question, no doubts will be there, a proper process is there. You just need to follow that particular process to get the required answers. For 5 marks, I am not saying, for 4 marks mostly theory questions will be there. For 5 marks it may be a theory or numerical question. For 7 marks, except back propagation, all will be the numerical questions will be there. बाकी सारे क्या हो गए, तो numerical questions ही हो गए. And see, if you practice even the given question, that is more than sufficient. वही आपके लिए more than sufficient होगा. So please try to solve the given things and just read the provided note. This is my request to you. I don't know how many of you even open that given notes for unit 2, that PPTs of unit 2. I have provided it. Just it is expected you should go through it, read it properly. If some doubts, you can discuss with me what type of answer it is expected here. Such doubts, if you are asking on to me on WhatsApp, or even if you are calling me, I will give you answers definitely. But please be confident. Whatever you are writing, you should write down with the clarity. It should be point wise, so that whoever the checker will understand what particular points we are expecting, whether it is covered or not. Mathematical expression diagrams are must. Okay, with that you can explain the concept very properly. So this is all from my side. I just want to add one more thing. Today 3 to 5 we are again giving you one more video for the assignments particularly. I am not forcing you to join that lecture. It will be open for you. If you are having some doubts, you can definitely discuss there, where we are considering the data and applying the neural network to get the desired output. You can join that lecture. Otherwise, I will share the recording on the Google Classroom or even on our WhatsApp group. Okay, I will share that. So this is all from my side. So as I promised today, what I will share numericals. I will share numericals on unit number 2, because yesterday itself I have shared that all the numericals on unit number 1. Again and again I am repeating, there is no any other variation other than that given problem. So everyone please go seriously through that problems, and that is more than sufficient. उसी वे में आपको प्रॉब्लम्स आने वाले हैं, and that is sufficient. तुम्ही जो प्रॉब्लेम एक ही सॉल्व केला तर तुमची अंडरस्टँडिंग क्लियर होऊन जाईल. Unit 2 weight initialization and hetero associative and Hopfield network back propagation. I will share the problem. Back propagation का already एक problem that is under unit 1 मी by mistake share केलेला है. That problem it is of unit 2 only. Back propagation का 7 mark वाला question रहेगा, ठीक है? That is under unit 2. और बाकी सारे problem भी आज मैं numerical problem share कर दूंगी. As well as I will share notes. Notes में share कर दूंगी. I will share the notes also, which are in forms of question and answer. एक यूनिट 1 के शेयर कर दूंगी और बाकी जो होंगे क्वेश्चन आंसर के फॉर्म में ये वाले आंसर्स भी मैं शेयर कर दूंगी. ओके, दिस इज ऑल फ्रॉम माय साइड. आई थिंक आई हैव कवर्ड each and every point in the revision what is expected, because point wise if we are going it is difficult, but this is all from my side. Okay, as I said, one more, a short video on optimization. This also I will share. Okay, ये भी मैं share कर दूंगी. So I don't think any other point it is left now. So this is all from my side. Only expected you should go through this all points. Don't wait की exam आहे उद्या आणि आपण आज पाहणार आहोत. I know that for some of the department I think it's working tomorrow, and for ENTC no working is there, so you can take benefit of this. Just go through it once, so before the examination you can take a revision, and if you are having some doubts you can raise that doubt. If you need something you can tell me now itself, so before your examination first day I will be ready with that all material. Okay, this is all from my side. Is there any doubt from your side?
Ma'am, will you be sharing the MATLAB codes which will be discussed
Yes,
in the class.
as I'm saying today, a session will be there, live session will be there, as well as with that, whatever the recording of that lecture, we will share that recording with you.
एंड मैम वो यूनिट 1 के जो न्यूमेरिकल एग्जांपल शेयर किए थे ना आपने,
Hmm.
उसमें बीच-बीच में कहीं पे व्हाइट स्लाइड्स है मैम, तो वो बाय पर्पस था या फिर वो दिख नहीं रहा मैम?
Let me check. मैं check करती हूँ फिर से, and if some issue is there, I will convert it to PDF and then I will share. Can you see the math type equations in that PPT?
मैम कैन यू प्लीज रिपीट?
जो equations है mathematical equation, can you read that equation or whether you can just see that box? Okay, Karthik, ठीक है. I will convert it to PDF and then I will share it. Yes, any other doubt from your side? Okay, so I will assume there is a no doubt from your side, but see, I'm always available as this is the first time such subject is there, but please don't take tension. I really don't know why you are taking tension, because a very less mathematical part is there and that questions are also not at all difficult. Initially, some of the concepts are theory also, but combination of these two. For the next unit, fuzzy, lot of mathematical concepts are there and familiar concepts are there, like set फंक्शन से रिलेटेड, बिकॉज फजी सेट थ्योरी उसी से फजी लॉजिक बनता है. वॉट एवर योर डाउट्स यू कैन शेयर पर्सनली विथ मी ऑल्सो, कि कोई अगर डाउट है, अगर आपका कोई पर्टिकुलर डिमांड है, यू कैन पर्सनली शेयर विथ मी ऑन व्हाट्सएप या आप कॉल भी कर सकते हो. ओके, दिस इज ऑल फ्रॉम माई साइड. फ्रॉम टुडे स्टार्ट योर प्रिपरेशन. वॉट एवर द टाइम रिमेनिंग, यूज इट वेरी इफेक्टिवली. डोंट बी मीन्स कभी कभी टाइम होता है सो वी आर टेकिंग इट लाइटली. डोंट टेक इट लाइटली. जो कुछ भी टाइम है उसका इफेक्टिवली यूज करो. वॉट एवर सब्जेक्ट्स आर देयर, यू कैन स्टार्ट योर प्रिपरेशन फ्रॉम टुडे इटसेल्फ. और एग्जाम के पहले रिवीजन करना है. तो ऑप्टिमाइजेशन इलेक्टिव के लिए मैं यही बोलूंगी कि आपके अगर डाउट्स रेज होने वाले हैं, सो टेल मी वेल बिफोर द टाइम, सो टू सॉल्व दैट डाउट आई विल बी रेडी विथ एक्स्ट्रा मटेरियल टू. बट एज आई एम सेइंग कि क्वेश्चन का किस तरीके से आंसर एक्सपेक्टेड है, दैट ऑल्सो आई एम शेयरिंग. सो आई थिंक दैट इज इनफ फॉर यू. अगर फिर भी कुछ डिमांड रहेगी, सो प्लीज टेल मी. सो शैल वी कंक्लूड हियर?
मैम
यस.
मैम बस एक क्वेश्चन था मैम, वो जो बाइपोलर एंड का क्वेश्चन था ना मैम विद डेल्टा रूल, वो आप बोले थे डिस्कशन टाइम पे सॉल्व करेंगे मैम, तो अभी बस क्या सॉल्व करना था वो.
संजय सॉरी, रिपीट कर दोगे डाउट?
मैम वो एक क्वेश्चन था ना मैम प्रैक्टिस टेस्ट में,
डेल्टा रूल का.
हाँ डेल्टा रूल फॉर बाइपोलर एंड, तो मैम
अच्छा,
वो कैसे करना था मैम, क्योंकि वो सॉल्व भी नहीं हो रहा था मैम, बहुत ट्राई करते थे.
डेल्टा रूल का बाइपोलर से नहीं हो रहा था,
बाइपोलर एंड.
बाइपोलर एंड से. ठीक है, यहाँ पे
हाँ.
आर वाला सॉल्व करके दिया है विथ यूनिट फंक्शन ओनली. ठीक है, मैं संजीत एक काम करती हूँ, इसमें ऐड कर देती हूँ वो वाला क्वेश्चन.
यस मैम, क्योंकि और हो गया था मैम, और का आंसर आ गया था मेरा. मैं
ओके.
एंड का ही मार रहा हूँ, क्योंकि एंड में नहीं क्या मैम, कुछ वेट्स नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव ऐसे आ रहे थे, और फिर फाइनल में ना मैम जो आउटपुट आ रहा था ना मैम वेट्स के लिए, तो वो 2 इनपुट के लिए सेटिस्फाई कर रहा था, 2 के लिए नहीं कर रहा था, तो वो कुछ तो गड़बड़ हो गया था मैम उसके लिए.
ठीक है, मैं प्रॉपरली आंसर सॉल्व करके आई विल शेयर इट ऑन द गूगल क्लासरूम.
ओके मैम, थँक यू.
ओके, आय होप आणखीन काही डाउट्स नाही आहेत. Okay, I will share today's lecture on the Google Classroom also. If you need somewhere, you can use it. See, I am not revising the concept, but in case of if you are having any doubt about the answers and all, you can see this lecture one more time. And those who missed, I will share for that all the student also. तुम्ही पण परत जर काही डाऊट आला वगैरे तर तुम्ही हे लेक्चर तुम्ही नक्कीच रेफर करू शकता. अदर व्हिडिओज इफ पॉसिबल, आय एम नॉट गिव्हिंग द प्रॉमिस की जिथे जिथे मला वाटत आहे की हे पॉइंट इम्पॉर्टंट आहेत, just to cover that point, a small videos of 10 to 15 minutes, if it is possible within this next 2 days, at least 4 to 5 different concepts I will cover, and I will share that videos on the Google Classroom. Okay, so I think let us conclude here. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Thank you all for your patience listening. I am always be there in case of any doubts. Please feel free to call me or message me. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all. I have downloaded the attendance, so no need